All right, welcome to another riveting recorded in-class example for ETGR 1103. We are still going over using the tools that you have to be able to make drawings or communicate visually. Excuse me, still getting over a cold. Um, I have another video where we're doing the orthographics for this 3D solid in Microsoft Word, which is a pain in the butt, but it is possible to do two scale drawings in something like Microsoft Word. They ain't gonna be perfect, but they're the whole point being they're good enough to get your point across. So now we're gonna do it using G Suite, and by G Suite I mean Google Slides. Last year when I did this class, pretty much the functionality that was in Microsoft Word was also available in Google Docs, but I tried to make this video doing this example in Google Docs, and I could not see where that functionality existed. So we're just going to do Google Slides. Besides, if you have access to Google Docs, you also have access to Google Slides. So we'll do it in Slides. Now, Slides is funny. This is also the third time I've tried to make this video because when I try to do things the way I did them last year, I get surprised that the settings have changed. So I sit there and stare at the screen like an idiot for a minute. But I think I got it figured out. But before we go any further, I want to say this video is sponsored by Papa John's. When it's cold and snowy outside, nothing hits the spot more than a nice warm pizza. And the $7.99 one topping takeout special really hits the spot. So, Papa John's, if you're in the Canvas page, that will be of significance. So, okay, doing orthographics of this 3D solid in Google Slides. First, let's make sure we just have a nice blank slide just so we have a clean slate. All right, lines. What I just discovered during my previous take of this video that you don't see is if you make a line again, wait, let's do this again. Again, making a line, hold shift and it'll snap to any number of pre-selected orientations. All right, click format. I can't change the length of this. Unless I'm not doing something correctly, I can't change the length of just a line. I'm also going to hide this. Can I hide this? I can hide this down here. There we go. All right, but what we can do is I do have rulers. I'm going to go up here in the very, very, very top corner. And not there. Or actually, I'm going to come down here in the bottom corner. I'm going to get as close as I can to the corner, hold shift, and look at the ruler at the top of the window. You see how I got these little blue marks that are expanding? That is showing me the overall length of the line plus the midpoint. So I'm going to make this 1/2 inch long. I'm going to drag it because I need some space. So let's drag this here and drag that there. So I have that line. Make another line. And from here down, that also needs to be 1/2 inch. All right. We'll do another line. So what I've done is I've put this line, what's our scale? Each of these little tick marks is an 1/8 of an inch. So I've put this an 1/8 of an inch off the edge, the top, and on the bottom. So we need to remember that. We need to keep track of that 1/8 of an inch. So I've come in 1/2 inch, down a 1/2 inch. So now this point should be at uh, 5/8, 5/8, 5/8. Should be 5/8. We're gonna keep going. So I'm down here, and I need to go out to, so it's 4.5 inches, or excuse me, 4 inches overall, but I'm an eighth of an inch off the side. So I'm going to drag this line out until my cursor is at 4 1/8. Because again, this point right here is an eighth off the edge of, the ruler. Continuing on, this is going to go up. So I'm starting, this would be half, excuse me, that would be half. And then I'm going, this line has to be 3/4 of an inch long, which is 6/8. So I'm adding an eighth. This needs to go up to 7/8 from the bottom. Oh my God. Hang on. I gotta do, this is a mess. So that's half an inch. That's 3/4 of an inch. And then again, line from here. Again, we're gonna just get it as close as we can by eyeball. We started at 4 1/8, and this line is, well, hang on. We don't know exactly how long this is, but we do know, again, it's 4 inches overall. This is 1.25 inches. So if you subtract those two, that means that this is 2 3/4 inches long. So I'm starting out here at 4 1/8. Now I want to go 2 3/4. Oh crap! So that's an inch. I'm doing this the hard way. So that's an inch, 3 1/8 an inch, 2 1/8, 2 inch, and then what am I doing? 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Here's 3/4. That's 2 3/4. It ain't pretty, but it's gonna get us there. And then this is 1.5 inches tall. So there's an inch. Oops, hold shift. There's an inch. And there's an 1.5 inches. And there's an inch. There's an 1.25 inches, and we're back to being an eighth of an inch off of the edge of the screen. It ain't pretty. You can see visually that some of these points don't line up exactly. We can fudge that. We can just do that. Hit up on the keyboard. Hit over on the keyboard. And kind of, look like it's closed. Yeah, it mostly looks like a closed shape. All right, now let's add the lines that represent this hole that runs through the feature. So this is 1 3/8. So coming in from that right, or the right, this face, which is actually, that's our front, from the front face. Let's make a line here. Oh, geez. 1 3/8. So there's 1 inch. Again, I'm looking at my blue marks that are up on the ruler. There's an inch, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. And again, I'm looking at the ruler because I can't actually change the specific size of this line. I did not count that right. That's an inch. One. Oh, these are eighths. God, I'm an idiot. 1 2 3/8. There we go. So this will be our center line. I'm just going to make it, I'm just going to draw it. There we go. Let's change the line type, make it a center line, which is a dot dash. And then let's just do this. Let's come up here. Let's do a 1-inch line. Let's just do a 1-inch line. There. Using the rulers as a guide. Just do a 1-inch line. There we go. 1-inch line. And then, so I'm going to delete this here in a second, so I'm not even going to worry about formatting the line. Do that. Like that. Draw a line type to be a dash. Copy paste. Move that there. Whoa, that did not snap where I thought it was going to snap. There we go. There, delete. Okay. That's our right view. Excuse me a second. That's good stuff. Okay. Now let's do our top view. This is going to be a little bit easier because the shapes do have properties. So, and we can take advantage to some of the snapping features in uh, Google Slides. All right, now we can format. The width, the left to right dimension, is this dimension down here. So it is 4 inches. The height, which is this dimension right here, 3 inches, at least the way we have it drawn. It is no fill, transparent. And I'm gonna make this line type the same, which is, I honestly don't know. That's fine. So we're gonna move this to line up with this back edge. You see how these red lines appear? That means you're lined up to another edge. So we're gonna do that. Same thing. I'm just not gonna, when you have snaps, you don't have to make as many reference lines as you did when you were in Microsoft Word. PowerPoint also does some snapping, so you don't have to do nearly as many reference lines in PowerPoint because it'll snap. And again, this isn't perfect. It's for illustrative purposes only. You see that red line that shows up, meaning that this line is on the same edge. We're going to use that. And then same thing here. I'm going to copy this line and move it till I get a red line that snaps there. That line represents my notch. I'm going to make that a hidden line by making that a dashed line. Ta-da! All right. Circles. Again, take advantage of some snapping. I'm just going to go out here again. When you start a circle in G Suite, it's going to go from top left to bottom right. So again, we can change that by Shift. Oh, Control doesn't do anything. All right, Shift locks it to be a circle. And in Google Slides, I can't do a center out circle, so it's still going to be top left to bottom right. But by holding Shift, I can lock it to be a circle. I come over here, format options. This is a 1-inch diameter circle. So width is 1, height is 1. That's what makes a circle a circle. Transparent. I can click and drag this to be on that line, and boom, right there in the center. Bob's your uncle. I got a circle in the middle of the shape. Now, actually, what I am going to do though is I'm going to extend this. extend this center line there, and add the center line for this dimension, or this direction as well. Dash dot. All right. One more. Another shape. Rectangle. We're just going to do this. And format options. This is now, again, our left or right dimension is this one. 3 inches. Our top to bottom is 2 inches. There we go. Close that. Transparent. Drag so it is aligned with that bottom edge. Let's put it out here starting at 5 inches. Just a nice round number. And coming over here, I'm not trying to draw this line where it quote unquote should be. I'm just getting it on the page because I am just going to click and drag until I get my little red line. That means that I am aligned with this top edge. And same thing, I'm going to copy paste and I'm going to drag it until I get my other red line, which means I'm lined up with the notch. Change my line type to dash dash. And then I'm going to come over here and select all 3 of these with control click. So as I click, I'm holding the control button to select all 3 of these. Copy, paste, control C, control V. I'm going to drag these as a group to, oh, okay, that's not lining up. Okay. I'll delete this. This I can put in the middle. All right, so there we go. That's in the middle of that shape. Let's shrink that down. That doesn't need to be that long. There we go. Now I'm just going to draw, oh crap, not what I want to do. Draw a line that is 1 inch long. Let me get this lined up here. Make sure that it is in fact 1 inch long. Drag this down here. Just put it in the center. All right, get it. X marks the spot. Click that right there. I'm going to copy this line, move it to here, and paste another one and move it to here. And ta-da! There's my 3-view ortho using Google Slides. It's in some ways easier, in some ways harder. Like, I get Google is the more user-friendly interface compared to Microsoft Office. But when you're trying to make it do something that it wasn't really designed to do, it's kind of harder, but not impossible. So those are the steps that I would take to do a 3-view ortho of this solid. So that should be the information you need to get through the homework. If I ask for a Google Slides document, this is what you need to know. But more importantly, what you do need to know is that this video was brought to you by Papa John's. It's cold and pizza is delicious. So be safe out there in the snow, and I will see you in class at some point.